Aliens cried for help, and Deathworlders emerged from the shadows. Massive energy beams streaked across the horizon, hitting alien cities with devastating force. Buildings of crystal and metal cracked and collapsed, sending shards scattering into the air like glittering rain. The Zithurians, a delicate but intelligent race, screamed in fear, scrambling to save themselves and their families. In the midst of the chaos, Tellyra, a Zithurian counselor, stood on a high balcony overlooking the capital city of Vierlia. Her 4 translucent wings quivered with anxiety. "We cannot hold them," she cried, her voice trembling. "Our weapons fail, our shields fall. If no help comes, Zithuria will be lost." Her assistant, Laros, a smaller Zithurian with luminous eyes, shook his head. "We have sent messages, Counselor. All galaxies have received our distress call. Perhaps someone will answer." Tellyra clenched her fists. She had hoped, but she knew how desperate their situation had become. Zithurians were brilliant engineers and scholars, but physically fragile. Their technology, though advanced, could only do so much against the invaders, beings whose ships moved with lightning speed and whose weapons struck without mercy. Far across the galaxy, the message blinked on a hardened human ship, streaking through the void at impossible speeds. The vessel was small, armored, and built for survival in the deadliest of environments. Its captain, Commander Elias Vance, stared at the glowing distress signal with sharp blue eyes. Humans were known in some corners of the universe as Deathworlders, beings who thrived in conditions that would destroy others. They had survived planets of extreme heat, freezing cold, poisonous air, and predatory creatures. They adapted, they endured, they fought. "Another distress signal," said Lieutenant Myra Chen, her fingers dancing over the ship's console. "Looks like a Zithurian world." "They're asking for help again." Elias frowned. "Again, haven't they been attacked before and failed to defend themselves?" Myra shrugged. "Doesn't matter, they're asking for help, and this time it looks worse." The image of Zithuria flashed on the ship's main screen. Cities burned, energy storms raged across the surface. Aliens ran in panic. Elias leaned forward, feeling a twinge he rarely allowed himself, curiosity mixed with duty. "We respond," he said simply. His voice carried the calm confidence of someone who had faced impossible odds before. "Prepare the ship for immediate jump. We're going to Zithuria." The human crew moved like a single organism, efficient and practiced. In moments, the ship's engines hummed with power, and the vessel leaped into warp space, leaving streaks of light behind as it raced across hundreds of light years. Back on Zithuria, Tellyra and Laros worked tirelessly to save as many citizens as they could. Entire neighborhoods had crumbled, people huddled in shelters, terrified of the unknown invaders. Zithurian defense drones fired tirelessly, but they were no match for the speed and precision of the enemy. "I fear they will take the lower cities next," Laros said, pointing to the holographic map hovering between them. "If they breach the shimmering spires, our council will be lost." Tellyra's wings drooped. "We cannot win alone. We need something else, something strong. Something different." And then, through the chaos, their communication beacon sent a blip of hope. A reply from a species the Zithurians had never dealt with before, humans. The humans' ship emerged from warp space above Zithuria in silence, gliding through the violet clouds of the alien atmosphere. It was a small ship by galactic standards, but tough, compact, and engineered to withstand the harshest conditions. Elias watched the planet below, noting the burning cities and the fleeing citizens. He did not panic. Humans never panicked. They assessed. They acted. "Prepare the landing crew," Elias ordered. "We move in quietly. We assess first, then we help." Lieutenant Chen raised an eyebrow. "Quietly? Commander, this planet is under attack. If we land quietly, the enemy will see us as easy prey." Elias smiled faintly. "That's why humans survive where others die, Lieutenant. We don't just fight with weapons. We fight with brains, strategy, and courage. Watch and learn." Below the invaders, ships moved like swarms of black hornets, firing energy pulses that tore through buildings. The Zithurians attempted to intercept, but their defenses failed repeatedly. Even from orbit, Elias could see their desperation. He turned to his tactical officer, Ronan. "Deploy reconnaissance drones. I want every weakness mapped, enemy positions, weapons, and escape routes. And prepare ground squads. We move as soon as the cities stabilize." The drones zipped down to the surface, small and nearly invisible, gathering real-time data. Humans had survived deserts hotter than any star's surface, jungles filled with carnivorous plants, and oceans that could crush a ship. Nothing about this planet would scare them. On the ground, Telira's people had begun to lose hope. Entire districts had been evacuated or destroyed. Her wings shimmered faintly under the sun, tinged with anxiety and despair. "We need a miracle," she whispered to herself. Suddenly, a human squad appeared at the outskirts of the burning city. Clad in reinforced armor, carrying compact energy weapons, they moved with careful precision. The Zithurians froze. They had never seen a species like this, so strong, so confident, so calm in the face of disaster. Elias signaled his team. "Hold positions, let them see us. We do not attack first, we save first." The humans advanced into the city, dodging falling debris and energy blasts. One human, Sergeant Kaelrurk, lifted a collapsing beam just long enough for a trapped Zithurian family to escape. Another human, Lieutenant Myra, rerouted a failing energy shield over a public square, protecting hundreds from incoming fire. The Zithurians could hardly believe their eyes. Their own technology had failed repeatedly, yet these humans moved as if danger was a simple puzzle. Children hid behind broken walls, peeking at the humans in awe. Adults whispered, unsure if they were witnessing gods or warriors from legends. Telira, wings trembling, called out to the humans. "Who are you? Why do you come to help us?" Elias approached, his expression calm but firm. "We are humans. We survive where others cannot. We help when help is needed, and right now Zithuria needs us." Her eyes widened. "But your species, you are not from here. You cannot understand our world." Elias tilted his head. "We understand danger, we understand survival, and we understand courage. That is enough." With that, the humans coordinated rescue operations across the city. Using a combination of speed, intelligence, and improvisation, they guided Zithurians to safety. Where the aliens struggled with machinery, the humans adapted. Where the aliens hesitated, the humans acted. Night fell over Zithuria, but the humans did not rest. They patrolled the streets, rescuing trapped citizens and fortifying makeshift shelters. Fire and smoke filled the air, yet the humans moved calmly, efficiently. Their actions were a lesson in bravery and resilience. Telira watched from above, wings folded tightly against her back. She had spent her life studying the universe, yet she had never seen a species like this. They did not rely solely on technology. They relied on courage, adaptability, and unity, qualities the Zithurians admired but often lacked under pressure. Perhaps they can save us," she whispered, hope flickering in her luminous eyes. Elias and his team continued their work throughout the night. Every Zithurian they saved, every fire they contained, every invader they outsmarted was a reminder of what humans were capable of. Deathworlders did not just survive, they thrived where others would perish. And Zithuria, a world on the brink of destruction, was about to learn that lesson firsthand. As dawn broke over the shattered cities, Telira stepped forward, finally allowing herself to hope. Humans were here. The invaders had yet to understand the threat they now faced. And the Zithurians, once fragile and fearful, would soon see a new kind of hero emerge, not from their own ranks, but from a species known across galaxies as Deathworlders. For the first time in weeks, the skies over Violia held more than fire and destruction. They held a glimmer of hope. The morning sun rose over Zithuria, painting the sky in shades of gold and violet. The cities were in ruins, smoke rising in gray columns from broken streets and shattered buildings. Fires burned still, but amidst the destruction, hope had begun to grow. Humans had arrived. Commander Elias Vance stood at the edge of a collapsed plaza, surveying the scene. His human team moved with practiced precision, assessing damage, helping the wounded, and planning the next steps. Zithurians, fragile and pale-skinned, hovered nearby in awe, unable to hide their fascination at the humans' efficiency. Telira approached cautiously, her translucent wings folding behind her back. "Humans," she began, voice trembling slightly. "You have done so much already, but the invaders are still here. Their forces are strong. Their ships strike from the sky, and their soldiers move with speed and power we cannot match." Elias nodded. "We know, that is why we are here. Humans survive in the harshest places, we thrive in danger, and we do not fight alone, we fight alongside those who need us." Laros, still nervous, stepped forward. "But your methods, you are different. Our people have never seen such courage in one species. How do you adapt so quickly?" Elias smiled faintly. "We do not think of it as courage, we think of it as necessity. You adapt or you die." It is that simple, but we will not leave you to face this alone. Show us the invaders' movements. We will find a way. The humans split into teams. Some worked to rescue trapped Zethurians from buildings that were about to collapse. Others examined the invaders' attacks, noting patterns, weaknesses, and predictable behaviors. Everywhere they went, humans moved calmly, efficiently, and decisively. Sergeant Cale Rourke and his team approached a residential district where the invaders had already destroyed several buildings. The air smelled of burning metal and ozone. Shadows of alien soldiers darted between the ruins, scanning for survivors. "Stay low," Cale whispered to his team. "Move in silence, watch for movement. Zethurians are here and we will get them out." Using hand signals, the humans moved like a single organism. They avoided the invaders' patrols, using debris as cover. Cale found a family trapped under a collapsed structure. A young Zethurian girl clutched her mother's hand, trembling in fear. "Don't worry," Cale said softly, lifting a heavy beam with a strength that surprised even the aliens. "We'll get you out, just hold on." The girl's eyes widened, reflecting the human's calm determination. For the first time since the attack began, she felt safe. Humans moved with a precision and courage that the Zethurians had never seen. Meanwhile, Elias and Lieutenant Myra Chen worked on a more complex task. They studied one of the invaders, attacked drones that had crashed during the night. Its weapons were deadly, but poorly adapted to Zethuria's environment. Humans had a gift for improvisation. They examined the drone carefully, reverse-engineered its systems, and adapted Zethurian technology to counter it. "This is why humans survive," Elias muttered. "We do not panic, we adapt. We find solutions when others only see death." Myra nodded. "And the Zethurians are learning, look at them. They are beginning to move with purpose instead of fear." Indeed, Zethurian civilians were watching. Slowly, they began assisting the humans. One brave elder even carried supplies to aid the rescue teams. Their admiration grew with every human action, as the aliens realized that survival was not just about technology. It was about courage, strategy, and teamwork. As the day progressed, the invaders adapted. They sent patrols to search for the humans, and energy pulses rained down on the recovering city. Humans responded with calm determination. Using simple yet brilliant strategies, they set traps and diversions, drawing invaders away from civilians and into zones where humans had the advantage. Cale's team lured a squad of invaders into a narrow street. Using debris and makeshift barricades, the humans confined the enemy, disabling their weapons without harming the Zethurians nearby. The aliens watched in awe. The humans moved quickly, thinking steps ahead of the enemy. From above, Elias coordinated with drones and ground teams, predicting the invaders' movements. He noticed patterns the Zethurians had overlooked. The invaders always moved toward the weakest structures, always reacted predictably to certain signals. With this knowledge, he began planning counterattacks that could change the tide of battle. Tellyra followed Elias through the city, wings fluttering nervously. "You move so freely among danger. How can you stay calm?" she asked. Elias looked at her. "Calm comes from experience and purpose. We do not fight because we enjoy it. We fight because others need us. That gives us focus. Fear has no power when you know what must be done." The counselor watched silently. Humans were not gods. They bled. They felt pain. Yet they carried on with a determination she could not understand. Something deep within her stirred, a mixture of hope, trust, and awe. As the day turned to evening, the humans had rescued hundreds of Zethurians, repaired critical systems, and repelled several invader strikes. Still, the battle was far from over. The invaders had retreated only to regroup. Reports indicated that reinforcements were arriving, and the humans understood the stakes. Elias gathered his team in a small shelter. "We are doing well," he said, voice calm. "But this is only the beginning. The invaders will adapt, and so must we. We will train the Zethurians to defend themselves, teach them how to survive, and combine our strengths. Together, we can turn this world from a place of fear into a place of hope." Myra raised a question. "Commander, the Zethurians are fragile. Can they really fight like us?" Elias smiled faintly. "Not like us, no, but they can fight in ways we cannot. They have intelligence, creativity, and skills we do not understand. We only need to guide them, teach them, and sometimes inspire them." Over the next few hours, humans began training small groups of Zethurians in basic defense tactics. They did not hand them weapons blindly. Instead, they taught them how to think ahead, how to recognize threats, and how to use their environment. Humans demonstrated courage under fire, and the Zithurians copied. Slowly, the first signs of hope began to appear. In one part of the city, a Zithurian boy ran alongside a human soldier, dodging falling debris and helping guide civilians to safety. In another, a Zithurian elder managed to reroute a damaged energy shield under human guidance, protecting dozens from a drone strike. Telira watched silently, realizing that humans were not just saving her people, they were teaching them to survive. The hope she had clung to all day now blossomed into a belief that perhaps Zithuria could endure. Night fell fully over the city. Fires still burned, but human patrols moved efficiently, keeping invaders at bay. Humans slept only in short shifts, never leaving the Zithurians unprotected. The aliens were astonished. They had never seen a species so tireless, so focused, so unafraid of danger. Elias walked through a partially destroyed plaza, speaking to Telira quietly. "Your people are strong in their own way," he said. "They just need to see it for themselves. Fear has been their enemy, courage will be their shield, and we are here to show them how." Telira nodded slowly. Her wings shimmered softly in the firelight. "Your people, humans, they are extraordinary. We have studied many species, but none like you." Elias shrugged. "We do not seek praise, we seek survival, and sometimes we find friendship along the way." By dawn, the humans had turned the immediate tide in Violia. Civilians were safe for the moment, though the invaders still controlled parts of the city. The humans had shown the Zithurians that survival was possible, not just through technology, but through courage, strategy, and resilience. Telira addressed her people for the first time since the attack began. "Humans have shown us that hope is not lost. They move among us with strength and bravery we could not imagine. We will follow their example. We will fight. We will endure. And together we may yet save our world." The Zithurians cheered, wings fluttering with renewed vigor. For the first time in days, fear did not dominate their hearts. Hope did. And the humans watched, calm and ready, knowing that the real battle had only begun. But also knowing that together they were stronger than the dawn over Zithuria was quiet, almost eerily so. The fires of the previous day had dimmed, and smoke rose slowly into the violet sky. For the first time since the attack began, the Zithurians felt a sense of relief. The humans had organized rescue operations, fortified shelters, and even taught some of the aliens how to protect themselves. Yet Commander Elias Vance knew that the calm was temporary. "This is too quiet," Elias said, standing on a ridge overlooking the city. His piercing blue eyes scanned the horizon. "The invaders are planning something. They never give up easily." Lieutenant Myra Chen nodded. "Our sensors show movement beyond the southern ridge." "Large formations, they are regrouping." Elias clenched his fists. "Then we prepare. Humans don't just survive, we fight smart. Let's make sure the Zithurians see that too." In the heart of the city, Telira and Laros organized small groups of Zithurians. They practiced the techniques humans had taught them, how to spot threats, how to evacuate civilians safely, and how to use simple traps to slow the enemy. "It is strange," Telira whispered to Laros. "These humans, they fight without fear. They do not panic even when the sky is filled with fire. How can a species be like this?" Laros shook his head. "Perhaps it is not fearlessness, perhaps it is discipline. They have lived in worlds we cannot survive. Danger is their teacher, not their enemy." Telira nodded thoughtfully. "Then perhaps they are exactly what we need." The first signs of the enemy arrived in the form of shadows flickering at the city's edge. Small skirmish drones moved quickly, almost invisible against the rubble. Humans were ready. Using the drones that had been repaired and reprogrammed the previous day, Elias coordinated a defensive grid. "Deploy sensors," he commanded. "Set traps along the south approach. Lure them into kill zones, but keep civilians out of danger." Human squads moved swiftly through the streets, placing energy nets, barricades, and sensor beacons. Zithurians watched, learning. Their fear had been replaced with curiosity and determination. For the first time, they were active participants in their own survival. The invaders struck with speed. From the shadows, they emerged, sleek black-armored soldiers with weapons that fired in pulses of blue energy. The humans responded immediately, dodging attacks, drawing the enemy into the traps, and countering with carefully aimed strikes. Sergeant Kael'Rurk led a team down a narrow alley where several invaders had appeared suddenly. Using debris and the terrain to their advantage, the humans moved silently, striking with precision. "Focus on their weak points," Kale whispered. "They rely on armor, but speed is their only defense. Exploit that, and we control the fight." The invaders had never encountered tactics like these. They had been used to overwhelming weaker species with sheer force, but humans were different. They moved unpredictably, adapted to every situation, and used the environment to their advantage. One by one, the invaders fell, retreating into the shadows with confusion and frustration. Zithurians watched in awe. One young Zithurian, Lyra, whispered to her companion, They are not like us. They are strong, clever, and brave all at once." Elias coordinated from a high vantage point. Using drones and a secure communications network, he guided human squads across the city. They were not just fighting, they were teaching by example. Every maneuver, every clever tactic was an unspoken lesson to the Zithurians. "This is more than battle," Elias said to Myra. "We are showing them that courage and intelligence matter as much as weapons. If they learn that, they will survive even when we leave." Myra nodded. "They are watching, Captain. I can see it in their eyes. They are beginning to believe in themselves." As the day wore on, the invaders intensified their attacks. Larger formations advanced toward the city's central district, where critical energy generators and communication hubs were located. If the humans could not hold them off, Zithuria's recovery would be impossible. Elias gathered his team in a temporary command center. "This is the critical point. We hold the center or the city falls. Humans adapt, humans fight, humans survive. Let's show the Zithurians what that means," Kale grinned. "Time to remind them why we are called Deathworlders." The humans moved quickly, placing traps, barricades, and decoys. Zithurians helped where they could, carrying supplies, guiding civilians, and observing the humans' strategies. The bond between species was growing, built on trust and shared purpose. The enemy attacked at noon, a coordinated strike from multiple directions. Energy pulses lit up the streets as humans and Zithurians worked together. The humans took the lead, drawing invaders into traps, using the city's ruins to their advantage, and countering with precision strikes. One human, Corporal Jessa Lane, led a small squad to disable a group of drones targeting a shelter full of Zithurian families. Using a combination of agility, quick thinking, and makeshift devices, they neutralized the threat without any civilian casualties. Zithurians who had once cowered in fear now helped carry the injured to safety. Tellyra watched from a safe distance, wings trembling with a mix of anxiety and admiration. She could not fully comprehend humans, but she knew one thing. Without them, Zithuria would have already fallen. As the battle continued, Elias led a daring maneuver. Using the terrain and the city's rubble, he flanked the invaders, striking at their command units and forcing a retreat. Humans moved with calculated risk, each step measured, each decision precise. The Zithurians were stunned. They had always relied on technology and energy shields to protect them, but these humans relied on strategy, courage, and adaptability. After the enemy retreated to regroup, Elias gathered the Zithurian council members. "Your people are strong," he said. "They just needed guidance. If we continue working together, we can push the invaders back entirely, but they will not stop. We must train, plan, and fight smart." Tellyra nodded. "We will follow your lead. Teach us. Help us understand how to survive and defend our home." Elias smiled. "We will. Humans do not just fight, they inspire. And Zithurians, you are beginning to see that." Over the next hours, humans and Zithurians repaired damaged defenses, restored communication links, and reinforced shelters. Small groups of Zithurians, once terrified, now assisted with energy shields, emergency medical care, and logistics. Every step was a lesson in resilience, teamwork, and courage. In the late evening, a human squad discovered a small group of invaders hiding in a collapsed building. Using clever tactics and minimal force, they captured the enemy soldiers, preventing further attacks on civilians. The Zithurians watched closely, learning that intelligence and strategy could win battles even against seemingly stronger opponents. Elias approached Tellyra. "Your people can survive," he said quietly. "Not because they are like us, but because they have courage, intelligence, and heart. We only need to show them how to use it." Tellyra nodded slowly. "And if the invaders return," Elias' gaze hardened, "then we will meet them together." Night fell fully over Vierlia. Fires still burned in some districts, but humans patrolled every street, every alley. Zithurians had begun taking small roles in defense, guided by human instruction. Hope had returned to the city, stronger than fear. In one narrow street, Lyra, the young Zithurian girl, moved alongside Kale's team, carrying supplies to injured civilians. She stumbled over rubble, but a human hand caught her. "Careful," Kale said, smiling. "You are learning fast, keep moving, every step counts." Lyra smiled, feeling a confidence she had never known. Humans did not just protect, they taught. They did not just fight, they inspired. As the first light of the next day appeared, Elias stood on a high ridge with his team. Below, the city was scarred but alive. Zithurians moved with purpose, humans patrolled with vigilance, and the invaders had been pushed back for the moment. "This is only the beginning," Elias said. "The enemy will come again, but we have shown your people that survival is possible." "They have seen courage, intelligence, and teamwork in action. They have seen hope." Myra Chen nodded. "And the Zithurians are beginning to believe that is half the battle." Elias smiled faintly. "Exactly. Fear is the enemy, courage is the weapon. And together, we are stronger than anything they can throw at us." Lyra watched silently from below. For the first time since the attack began, she allowed herself to truly believe that Zithuria might survive. Humans had entered her world as strangers, but they had become more than warriors. They were teachers, guides, and protectors. And the invaders would soon learn that Zithuria was no longer a weak world. In the shadows beyond the city, the invaders regrouped, watching the humans and Zithurians work together. Confusion and caution marked their ranks. They had faced many species, many planets, but none like this. Humans were unpredictable, fearless, and clever, qualities that made them far more dangerous than any Zithurian technology. The enemy did not yet know it, but a new force had emerged on Zithuria. A force that would not only defend the planet, but change the course of the battle entirely. The morning sun broke through the violet clouds over Zithuria, casting long golden rays over the shattered city of Violia. Smoke still rose from some districts, but the majority of the population had been evacuated or secured under human supervision. Zithurians moved with cautious determination, practicing the survival skills taught by the humans. Commander Elias Vance stood atop a ridge overlooking the city, scanning the horizon. His piercing blue eyes followed the distant shadows moving across the outskirts. The invaders were returning. "They are coming," Elias said quietly to Lieutenant Myra Chen. "And this time we do not just defend, we strike." Myra's fingers danced over the control panel, activating surveillance drones. "Our intel shows their formations are larger than before. They are not testing, they are preparing for a full assault." Elias nodded. "Good. Then let them come. Humans survive where others die, and we fight smart. Today, Zithurians will see that courage is stronger than fear." In the city below, Lyra gathered her council and a small group of Zithurian volunteers. Wings folded tightly against their backs, the aliens listened carefully as Elias' instructions were relayed. Humans did not just give orders, they explained, taught, and inspired. "You will not fight like humans," Elias said, addressing the Zithurians. "You will fight like yourselves, but smarter. Use your environment, use your instincts, and trust in each other." Laros nodded. "They have already saved so many of our people. We will follow their lead. We will fight for our home." The Zithurians trained quickly, guided by humans. They learned how to anticipate the invaders' movements, use barricades to control their advance, and improvise traps. Fear was still present, but it no longer ruled them. Confidence and courage began to grow. By midday, the invaders advanced toward the city. Their ships hovered low, firing energy pulses that cut through streets and buildings. Ground units moved with deadly precision, targeting energy hubs and shelters. Elias signaled the humans. "Now, we move together. Zithurians, follow our lead." From the ridge, the humans descended into the city. They moved as a single unit, using debris and ruined buildings for cover. Zithurians followed behind, carrying supplies, medical kits, and small energy weapons adapted from their own technology. The invaders struck first, firing energy pulses at the advancing humans. But humans anticipated this. Using carefully placed shields, traps, and rapid maneuvers, they drew the invaders into pre-planned kill zones. Sergeant Cale Rourke led his team into one narrow street where several invaders appeared. Using agility, clever timing, and teamwork, the humans neutralized their enemies quickly. Zithurians watched in awe, mimicking their movements and gaining confidence with each small victory. Meanwhile, Elias coordinated with drones hovering above. He directed human squads to flank the invaders while Zethurians reinforced critical positions. "This is more than fighting," Elias said to Myra. "This is teaching." The Zethurians are learning that survival comes from courage, strategy, and unity. That is the real victory. Myra watched as a young Zethurian boy guided trapped civilians through a partially collapsed street, inspired by human tactics. "Look at them," she said softly. "They are beginning to believe in themselves." Elias nodded. "Exactly. Fear is the enemy, courage is the shield, and today they will see how strong they truly are." The battle intensified. The invaders unleashed a wave of soldiers and drones attacking from multiple directions. Humans responded with calm precision, drawing the enemy into traps, setting ambushes, and using the terrain to their advantage. One squad, led by Corporal Jessa Lane, targeted an invader command unit directing drones toward a civilian shelter. Using a combination of clever maneuvers and minimal force, they disabled the unit, neutralizing several drones in the process. The Zethurians assisted by guiding civilians to safety and managing emergency energy shields. Telira watched in astonishment. Humans were not just strong, they were innovative, decisive, and fearless. Every move inspired the Zethurians, showing them that they could survive and even fight back. Elias and his team knew that defeating the invaders required more than defense. It required a coordinated counterattack. Using drones and human squads, they planned a strike against the invaders, forward command post on the outskirts of the city. "Zethurians," Elias announced, "we are going to show them that your world is not weak. Humans fight with you, not for you. Use what you have learned. Trust yourselves." For the first time, Zethurians were active participants in a major offensive. They moved with purpose, guided by humans but relying on their instincts and knowledge of the city. The humans and Zethurians struck simultaneously from multiple directions. Invaders were caught off guard by the speed, coordination, and unpredictability of the attack. Humans moved swiftly, using barricades, traps, and the ruins of buildings to funnel the enemy into narrow streets. Zethurians, inspired by human tactics, used energy pulses, barriers, and clever diversions to assist. Sergeant Kaelrurk led a squad into the enemy's central command post. Using agility and precise timing, they neutralized guards, secured data terminals, and disrupted communications. Zethurians followed, evacuating captured invaders and rescuing civilians trapped in nearby structures. Telira hovered above, wings trembling. She had never imagined her people could participate so actively in battle. Humans had not only saved them, they had awakened courage that had lain dormant for generations. As the counterattack continued, the invaders' formations began to collapse. Humans used rapid flanking maneuvers, drawing enemies away from key positions. Zethurians, once timid, now reinforced barricades, guided civilians, and assisted with energy systems. Every successful action built their confidence, creating a ripple effect of courage throughout the city. Elias observed the battle from a high vantage point, coordinating drones and squads. He spoke to Myra quietly. "This is the moment they realize they are not helpless. Humans survive where others die. Zethurians will survive because they are learning the same lesson." Myra nodded. "And the invaders, they have never faced a species like this. They are starting to hesitate." Indeed, the invaders faltered. Their attacks became disorganized. They had expected Zethurians to flee, not fight. They had underestimated the humans' adaptability and the courage they inspired in others. In one decisive move, Elias led a strike team into the heart of the enemy's remaining forces in the city. Humans moved with speed, precision, and coordination. Zethurians followed, using learned tactics to create diversions and manage traps. Together, they overwhelmed the invaders, forcing them to retreat into the shadows beyond the city limits. For the first time since the attack began, Vierlia was free of enemy presence. The streets were scarred, buildings ruined, and fires still smoldered, but the people were safe, and the enemy had been pushed back. Telira hovered over the city, wings shimmering with relief and awe. She turned to Elias. "Your people, humans, they have not only saved us. They have taught us to fight, to survive, to believe in ourselves. How can we ever thank you?" Elias smiled. "You do not need to thank us. You fight for your home, you survive for your people. Humans only show what is possible. The rest is up to you." As night fell, Zithurians began rebuilding. Humans assisted where necessary, but the Zithurians took active roles. They repaired energy systems, fortified shelters, and organized patrols. Confidence had replaced fear. Courage had replaced despair. In a quiet street, Lyra, the young Zithurian girl, walked alongside Kale. "I never knew I could be brave," she whispered. "I never knew I could help people." Kale smiled. "You are brave because you chose to be. Humans survive where others fail, but everyone has courage inside. You just have to see it." Lyra nodded, feeling a new strength. She had witnessed humans fight, adapt, and teach. Now she understood that courage was not a gift from another species. It was something within herself. High above the city, Elias and his team observed the horizon. The invaders had retreated for now, but they would return. They were persistent, calculating, and dangerous. "We've won this battle," Elias said, voice calm. "But the war is not over. Humans survive not because we are invincible, but because we adapt." Zithurians are learning that lesson too. When the enemy returns, we will be ready. Myra Chen nodded. "And the Zithurians, they are changing too. They are no longer just victims. They are beginning to fight alongside us." Elias looked down at the city, the smoke rising, the people moving with purpose, the Zithurians learning to defend themselves. Exactly. Today they saw courage. Tomorrow they will live it. And one day Zithuria will be a world the invaders will think twice before attacking. Lyra hovered nearby, her voice soft but filled with determination. "Your people, humans, they have changed our world, not just with strength, but with courage, intelligence, and hope. We will never forget this day." Elias nodded. "Good, remember it. The next time they return, you will fight too. Humans will guide you, but Zithuria will defend itself. That is how worlds survive." In the shadows beyond the city, the invaders watched and calculated. They had underestimated these strange, fearless humans and the courage they inspired in the Zithurians. They would return, stronger and more determined. But humans had shown Zithurians a truth they could never unlearn. Survival is not just about strength. It is about courage, intelligence, and unity. And Zithuria was no longer a helpless world. The sun rose over Zithuria in brilliant streaks of gold and violet, casting light over the city of Violia. Smoke still drifted from some buildings, but hope had replaced fear. Humans and Zithurians alike moved through the streets with purpose. Training, planning, and rebuilding had transformed the city from a place of despair into a fortress of determination. Commander Elias Vance stood on a ridge overlooking the city, his piercing blue eyes scanning the horizon. He knew the invaders were regrouping. Their shadows stretched across the plains beyond the city, moving like a dark tide ready to strike. But Elias was not afraid. "Today we finish this," he said quietly to Lieutenant Myra Chen. "Not just for Zithuria, but for every life they thought they could destroy. Humans survive where others fail, and we fight smarter than anyone else." Myra nodded. "The Zithurians are ready. They've learned courage. They've learned strategy. Today they will not run." Elias smiled faintly. "Good. Then let's show them the strength of a world united." In the heart of Violia, Lyra and Laros organized the Zithurian defenders. Wings folded tightly behind them, they moved with newfound confidence. The humans had trained them to anticipate attacks, to act decisively, and to protect their people. Zithurians now knew that survival was not passive. It was earned through courage, intelligence, and teamwork. "We fight not as victims," Lyra said, addressing the gathered Zithurians. "We fight as defenders of our home. Humans have shown us the way, now we must act." Laros stepped forward. "We have weapons, traps, and knowledge, but most importantly, we have courage. Today, we do not just survive, we win." The Zithurians cheered, wings flaring in unison. Their fear had been replaced by determination. From the northern ridges, the first invader scouts appeared. Sleek black soldiers moved with calculated precision, their energy weapons scanning the city for weaknesses. Humans and Zithurians were ready. Elias activated the city's newly fortified defenses. Energy shields hummed to life, traps were armed, and human squads positioned themselves strategically. Zithurians took up positions alongside the humans, ready to defend or strike as needed. "Remember," Elias said calmly, "this is not chaos, this is strategy, every move counts. Trust each other, trust yourselves, and the enemy will falter." The invaders advanced, but Elias' words proved true. Humans had anticipated their movements. Zithurians, following the strategies taught to them, held key positions. The first wave of invaders struck, but instead of panic, they met organized resistance. Sergeant Cale Rourke led a squad through a narrow street where invaders attempted to breach a civilian shelter. With human precision and Zethurian assistance, they set traps that funneled the enemy into confined spaces. Energy pulses from improvised devices disabled several invaders, while Zethurians guided civilians to safety. A young Zethurian girl, Lyra, moved alongside the squad, her hands steady as she helped operate a barrier. "I am not afraid anymore," she whispered, glancing at Cale. "I can help," Cale smiled. "That's the spirit. Courage is inside you. Humans only show you how to use it." The invaders faltered, unprepared for this unexpected unity between species. Humans adapted quickly, flanking the enemy, while Zethurians used traps and diversions. Every victory built confidence, and every small success reinforced the idea that Zethuria would not fall. Ilias coordinated the larger counterattack. Using drones, sensor data, and human squads, he devised a plan to strike at the invaders' forward command post on the southern ridge. This would disrupt their coordination and force a retreat. "Zethurians," he announced, "you have learned courage, strategy, and teamwork. Now we strike together. Humans fight with you, but this is your home. Show them that your world is not weak." The Zethurians responded with fierce determination. They moved alongside humans, using traps, barriers, and their knowledge of the terrain. Every strike was calculated. Every movement was precise. Fear had no place here, only purpose and courage. The combined force of humans and Zethurians advanced toward the invaders' command post. Energy pulses lit up the plains as invaders fired back, but humans used precision tactics to draw them into traps. Zethurians, once timid, now reinforced positions, guided squads, and even assisted in disabling enemy weapons. Ilias led a strike team through the central approach. Humans moved swiftly, neutralizing guards, securing critical data, and disrupting communication lines. Zethurians followed closely, using energy barriers and improvised defenses to block reinforcements. The enemy command post was vulnerable, and the humans exploited it flawlessly. Tellyra hovered above, wings trembling with awe. "They fight not just for themselves," she whispered. "They inspire courage in all of us. We are no longer helpless." As the invaders realized their command post was compromised, their formations began to collapse. Panic spread through their ranks. Humans and Zethurians pressed the advantage, flanking from multiple directions, cutting off escape routes, and neutralizing enemy leaders. Sergeant Cale Rourke's team intercepted a squad attempting to retreat. With human agility and Zethurian assistance, they blocked the path, forcing the invaders into a final stand. One by one, the remaining enemy soldiers were captured or disabled. The battle was over. For the first time since the attack began, Zethuria was truly free. In the aftermath, humans and Zethurians worked together to secure the city. Injured Zethurians were treated, civilians were protected, and the last of the invaders were rounded up. Zethurians had fought alongside humans, learning courage, strategy, and teamwork in action. Ilias walked through the city with Tellyra and Laros. "Your people fought bravely," he said. "They are not victims, they are defenders, and they have learned that courage is stronger than fear." Tellyra nodded, wings glinting in the sunlight. "Humans, you did more than save us. You showed us that survival is not just about strength. It is about intelligence, courage, and unity. Zethuria will never forget this." Laros added, "Our people are different now. Fear no longer rules us. We have hope, we have courage, and we will defend our world." Ilias smiled. "Good, that is what makes a species strong. Humans survive because we adapt. Zethurians will survive because they have learned to believe in themselves. Together, you are unstoppable." In a quiet street, Lyra, the young Zethurian girl, looked at the ruins and the humans who had fought alongside her. She remembered the fear she had felt on the first day, and she smiled. "I am not afraid anymore," she whispered. "I can help, I can fight, I can survive." Cale placed a hand on her shoulder. "Exactly. Courage is inside you. Humans only show you how to use it. Today you learned it for yourself." Everywhere in the city, Zethurians were discovering their strength. Civilians moved with confidence, volunteers assisted in rebuilding, and small squads prepared for any future threats. Humans had not only saved Zethuria, had awakened a spirit that could never be broken. From the high ridges, Ilias observed the city. Zethurians were moving with purpose, humans were patrolling efficiently, and the invaders were gone, at least for now. "This is a new dawn," Elias said quietly. Zithuria has learned that survival is not just about technology or power, it is about courage, intelligence, and unity. Humans adapt and survive. Zithurians have learned that they can too, Myra Chen nodded. And the invaders, they will think twice before returning. They have faced something they did not understand, a species united, fearless, and capable of defending its home. Elias smiled faintly. Exactly. Today, Zithuria survived. Tomorrow it will thrive. That evening, as the sun set in brilliant streaks across the sky, humans and Zithurians gathered in the central plaza. Survivors celebrated quietly, reflecting on the courage and teamwork that had saved their lives. Telira addressed her people, voice steady and confident. Today, we fought alongside humans. They taught us courage. They showed us how to survive and how to protect each other. Zithuria is no longer a helpless world. We are strong, we are brave, and we will defend our home. The crowd cheered, wings flaring in unison. Humans smiled quietly, knowing their job was not just to fight, it was to inspire courage that would last generations. Elias stood with Myra watching the scene. This is why humans survive, he said. We do not just fight, we teach, we inspire, we show others that even in the darkest times, courage and unity can change the course of a world. Myra nodded. And the Zithurians, they now know it for themselves. They are no longer afraid. They can defend their home and they will survive. Elias looked down at the city, the fires now dimming, the people moving with purpose, and the sky clear above. Zithuria has a future. And it begins today. In the distance, beyond the city limits, the last shadows of the invaders retreated, defeated but not destroyed. They had underestimated humans and the courage they inspired. They had underestimated Zithurians learning to fight for themselves. The invaders would return one day, but the lesson was clear. Zithuria was no longer defenseless, and courage had awakened in every heart. The humans would eventually leave, but the legacy of their presence remained. Zithurians had discovered strength, intelligence, and unity within themselves. They had learned that fear could be overcome, and that survival was possible, even against the deadliest foes. And as the first stars appeared in the violet sky, Elias Vance and his team prepared to depart, leaving behind a world forever changed. A world where hope had triumphed over fear, and where courage, intelligence, and unity would guide Zithurians for generations to come.